I'm probably not as far right as everybody thinks I am. Everybody thinks I'm like far right. I literally, up until the world lost its mind, considered myself to be liberal. I leaned, a little left. But I would say that's probably the biggest misconception. Everybody thinks I'm like some far right, I'm not really even that political, to be honest with you.
Cap. No, wrong, false. But there will be plenty of dumb comments from this man via the Skinny Confidential podcast.
I hate protesting. I don't care which side it is, who it is. Protesting is the dumbest waste of time.
I agree with you.
So I built an arena right here next to the headquarters here. They were literally putting the last screw in the building when COVID hit. So I start working with our ex-governor. I want to put on events over here. He tells me no. I'm like, what do you mean no? I'll social distance. I'll do whatever the bull is. I'll do it, right? And I got my own arena. No. So then I start thinking, no. You know what I could have done? I could have protested. Could have got a bunch of idiots together with me. We could have marched up and down the street. We want to fight, blocking traffic. What is that? Not only is that going to achieve nothing, it's going to off a lot of other people toward your cause, and because you're inconveniencing them.
I feel bad for this guy's brain cells because there's only 2 left and they're battling for third. So let's just go over his first point to begin all of this.
I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words because people love to hear from him. Dana, please.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family. I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelt boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bustin' with the boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan.
You issued this congratulatory speech after Donald Trump won the 2024 election with, per his own words, Elon Musk's help. That came on the heels of you speaking at the RNC not once, not twice, but 3 times. In addition, after Trump was convicted in his hush money trial, his first public appearance was going to you and using you. And of course, you using him. The UFC published a documentary called The Combatant-in-Chief on their website and YouTube, showcasing the relationship between the President of the United States and the Fighting League. This is the epitome of sports washing. Dana White would say, and I quote, "President Trump built the greatest economy in our nation's history and created opportunities for all Americans like no one before him," writes Kareem Zidane. White also donated $1 million to pro-Trump super PAC America First Action and said, what I just read, during a pre-taped speech in August 2020, financial markets hit all-time highs. Unemployment hit all-time lows. And we weren't facing the lawless destruction that is now occurring in a few of our great cities. The thing is, he will say that he's not political, but he always has been and always will be. He has donated to HPAC, John Huntsman, Rick Perry, Dean Heller, Orrin Hatch, the Democratic Senatorial Committee, Mitt Romney, Benny Yerushalmi, the Republican National Committee, the Vermont Republican Federal Elections Committee, Oklahoma Leadership Council Republican, the Republican Party of Idaho and Massachusetts, Reclaim America PAC Republican, Aaron Bill Bray Cohn, a Democrat, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Michael Moore, James Timilty, Isidore Hall III, Joe Heck, the NRSC, Adam Laxalt, Chuck Grassley, the Nevada Republican Party, Martin Heinrich, John Tester, RNC, Trump, Cortez Masto, Mark Amidei, Claire McCaskill, Greg Whalen, Danny Tarkanian, Sharice Davids, Joseph D. Morell, America First Action, Steve Sisolak, Jackie Rosen, Dan Radomir, Kimberly Classic, Joe Lombardo, DeSantis, BJ Penn, April Becker, the Morgan County Republican Executive Committee, Alex Mooney, Save America, Trump, Ted Cruz, Republican Party of Texas, Jobs, Freedom, and Security PAC, Republican Party of South Carolina, Iowa, Florida, Georgia, Maine, Oregon, and much more. So just to hammer this home, do not say that you are not political when you have given the amount of donations that we have seen. That is public information, man. I mean, you are just blatantly lying.
You know what's going to happen if Kamala Harris wins the election? I'm going to get up the next day, I'm going to put my on, and I'm going to go to work.
Right.
I'm going to do what I do every day.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Unfortunately, if Trump wins, probably going to be a lot of people that put the shoes on and get out and start protesting in the streets and acting like idiots, shutting down streets so people can't get to work and can't. I hate protesting.
Right.
I hate protesting. I feel like when you protest, you turn people against you, not for your cause, but against your cause. There are much better ways.
This is something that he just says over and over again.
There's ways to do things and there's ways to not do things. You have the ability to protest here in America, right? Of
course.
The does that accomplish? Show me one protest that's ever accomplished anything. It people off. You know, people can't drive, they can't do this, they can't do that. And it turns people against your cause. I mean, during COVID, the governor that was here during the time, I had my own arena right here, wouldn't let me use it. We'll social distance, we'll do this and that. No, we won't let you do it. Now, what I could have done is, I got 500 employees and I got a bunch of fighters. I could have marched up and down the streets of Vegas. We want to fight. You know what I mean? What would that have accomplished? Absolutely nothing.
He is a broken record at this point. Van Lathan wrote above the most recent White diatribe on protesting. Joe Rogan said this too. Note that these are two rich guys who can call the president. You cannot. To be heard, you need voices to scream with you. When one user named Raheem said he agreed with what White said, Lathan would reply, Raheem, protests often directly affect capitalism, be it sit-ins, obstructing traffic that flows for commerce. No war was fought for you to gain civil rights in the 60s. People demonstrated, protested, and moved with action. You owe them more respect than this. Amen. What gets me is he's never checked on this stuff. He just rambles and gives the same exact story over and over and over again. At least come up with some new material at this point, Dana. But what really just drives it all home is that you have someone who is probably going to be a billionaire in Dana White, who can do whatever he wants. He has a direct line to the most powerful man, arguably in the world, and he has probably a ton of other feds that he can use at his disposal. But his problem as a soon-to-be billionaire is protest. You know why? Because Van Lathan hit the nail on the head. Protest is a direct threat to him. It is a direct threat to his profits. It's a direct threat to the incredibly lavish, privileged lifestyle he lives. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYT Sports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.